For 80 years, the US dollar has been the undisputed king of the world. But right now, something unprecedented is happening in the shadows of global finance. From the oil fields of Saudi Arabia to the central banks of China, India, the world is quietly preparing for a future without the dollar. This isn't just a conspiracy theory. It's a trillion-dollar shift that could reset your bank account, your retirement, and the very foundation of the American dream. Today, we decode the de-dollarization wave of 2026. Before we begin, I need to clarify something important. The face you see in these videos and the voice you hear, those are not unique anymore. Anyone can use them. You'll see them on many channels, but the original creator is me. I was inactive on YouTube for a while, and during that time, many channels appeared claiming originality. I'm back now. And from here on, this channel is the original source of these ideas and videos. Don't get confused by copies elsewhere. Let's continue. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because today we re-diving into something that affects every single one of you watching this video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because today we re-diving into something that affects every single American watching this video right now. Your savings, your job, your future, they're all tied to what I'm about to reveal. And trust me, this isn't some distant problem happening on the other side of the world. This is happening right now, and it's accelerating faster than most people realize. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's going on, why it matters to you specifically, and most importantly, what you can do about it. So stick around until the end because I'll share some practical steps you can take today. Let's get into it. To understand what's happening now, we need to go back to 1974. Picture this. The US just came off the gold standard, the economy is shaky, and there's a massive oil crisis. The dollar needs a new foundation. So what do? We made a deal with Saudi Arabia, the kind of deal that would change the world for the next 50 years. Here's how it worked. Saudi Arabia agrees to sell all of its oil in US dollars. Not yen, not pounds, not gold, only dollars. In exchange, the US provides military protection and weapons. Every country that wanted Saudi oil had to buy dollars first. Brilliant, right? This created artificial demand for the dollar. It didn't matter if you were Japan, Germany, or Brazil. If you needed energy, you needed dollars. This single agreement turned the dollar into the world as reserve currency and gave America an economic superpower that no empire in history ever had. We could print money, run deficits, and the world would absorb it because they needed our currency. It was the ultimate economic cheat code. But here's what changed in June 2024. That 50-year petrodollar agreement expired. And Saudi Arabia? They didn't renew it. Let that sink in for a second. For the first time in half a century, Saudi Arabia can now sell oil in yuan, euros, rupees, whatever they want. And they're already doing it. Just last month, Saudi Aramco completed its largest oil with China, settled entirely in Chinese yuan. Think about what this means. If countries don't need dollars to buy oil anymore, they don't need to hold as many dollars in their reserves. And if they're holding fewer dollars, demand drops. When demand drops for a currency, its value falls. Basic economics. But it gets worse. Russia, Iran, and Venezuela are all now selling oil outside the dollar system. The United Arab Emirates just announced they'll accept payment in multiple currencies. Even smaller producers are diversifying. The oil that built the dollar empire is now being traded in currencies we don't control. The foundation is cracking, and most Americans have no idea it's even happening. Now, while the petrodollar is dying, there's an even bigger threat emerging: BRICS. You've probably heard of BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But here's what most people do know. BRICS just expanded massively in 2024. They added Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Iran. That's not just 5 countries anymore. That is a coalition representing nearly half of the world as population and controlling a huge chunk of global oil reserves. And what's their stated goal? To create an alternative to the dollar-dominated financial system. Let me paint you a picture of what's actually happening. China and India are already settling trade in their own currencies. Brazil and China are trading in yuan and reals, no dollars involved. Russia, despite all the sanctions, is thriving by selling energy in rubles and yuan. But here's the kicker. BRICS is developing their own payment system called BRICS Pay. Think of it as their own version of SWIFT. The international payment system that the US controls and uses as a weapon through sanctions. They're also talking about creating a BRICS currency, potentially backed by gold or a basket of commodities. Now, that's still in development, but the mere fact that they're working on it should tell you everything. Why does this matter to you as an American? Because when the dollar loses its reserve currency status, the US loses its ability to print money without consequences. Right now, we have a national debt of over $36 trillion. We run massive deficits every year. How do we get away with it? Because the world needs dollars, so they keep buying our treasury bonds. They fund our debt. But if the world doesn't need dollars anymore, who's going to buy our debt? If demand for treasury bonds drops, interest rates have to rise to attract buyers. Higher interest rates mean higher costs for everything. Your mortgage, your car loan, credit cards, business loans, everything. The average American could see their cost of borrowing skyrocket, not because they did anything wrong, but because the global financial system is shifting beneath our feet. And here's the scary part. This isn't some future scenario. BRICS nations have already reduced their dollar reserves by over $300 billion in the last 3 years. That's real money leaving the dollar system right now. All right, I know this is heavy stuff, but let's bring it home. What does this actually mean for your wallet, your life? First, inflation. You've already felt it at the grocery store, at the gas pump, in your rent or mortgage. But here's what most people don't realize. If the dollar weakens significantly because of de-dollarization, imported goods become way more expensive. Think about what you buy that's made overseas. Your iPhone? Made in China? Your clothes? Mostly from Asia? Your coffee? Imported. Your car parts? Global supply chain? When the dollar loses value, all of these things cost more. Not a little more, potentially a lot more. Second, your savings and retirement. If you have money in a savings account, a 401k, or any dollar-denominated assets, a weakening dollar means your purchasing power shrinks. You might have the same number in your account, but it buys less. I talked to a financial advisor last week, and he told me that clients are already asking about international diversification, gold, and alternative assets. Smart money is already moving. Third, interest rates and debt. I mentioned this earlier, but let me make it personal. If you have a variable rate mortgage or you're planning to buy a house, rising interest rates could add hundreds, even thousands of dollars to your monthly payments. If you have credit card debt, your minimum payments could jump. If you're a small business owner relying on loans to operate, your costs just went up. This affects everyone. Fourth, jobs and the economy. The US has benefited enormously from the dollar's dominance. Our financial sector, our ability to run trade deficits, our entire economic model is built on it. If that advantage disappears, we're looking at potential economic contraction, job losses, and a lower standard of living. Now, I'm not saying the sky is falling tomorrow. The dollar isn't going to collapse overnight, but the trajectory is clear and the pace is accelerating. What took decades to build is unraveling in years. So what's next? Where is this all heading? Some experts believe we're moving toward a multipolar currency world, where the dollar, yuan, euro, and possibly a BRICS currency all compete. Others think we might see the rise of digital currencies and central bank digital currencies that could reshape everything. Gold is making a massive comeback. Central banks around the world are buying gold at the fastest pace in decades. Why? Because when you can't trust any paper currency, you go back to the ultimate store of value, gold. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are also being watched closely. Some countries are already using Bitcoin for international settlements. El Salvador made it legal tender. There's serious discussion about whether digital assets could play a role in the new financial system. But here's what I think is most likely. The dollar will remain important, but it will no longer be dominant. We're heading toward a world where America has to compete economically like everyone else, without the cheat code of reserve currency status. That means we'll need to actually balance our budget, control our debt, and make our economy genuinely competitive. We can't just print money and export inflation anymore. For some Americans, this is terrifying. For others, it might actually be healthy in the long run. No empire lasts forever, and maybe this transition forces us to build a more sustainable economic model. Here's the bottom line. The world is dumping the dollar, not because they hate America, but because they're pursuing their own interests. They're building systems that don't depend on us. As an American, you need to be aware of this. Talk to a financial advisor about diversification. Consider holding some assets outside the dollar. Stay informed about these developments because they will impact your financial future. This isn't about fear, it's about being prepared. The American dream isn't dead, but it's evolving, and we need to evolve with it. And once again, I want to recall you guys that Original One is back in the market. So stop trusting on fake ones. The next era economics and your Alex Hopper is back. If you found this valuable, smash that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Drop a comment below. Are you worried about de-dollarization, or do you think the dollar will remain strong? I want to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.